Welcome to Claim Your Power Hour. I am here, as always, lately with the lovely Debbie G.
Howdy! How's it rolling, everybody? We're going to have some fun today. Seriously. I've been making up a song. Well, I've been making it up to the Bare Necessity song,
Yeah.
The
From
simple
Winnie the Pooh, right? Is that Winnie the Pooh? Where's that from?
Jungle Book.
Okay.
You're way off.
It's been a long time since I was a child or around a child, so.
Simple bare necessities. Okay, right? So the law of reciprocity, because I had to put it to music in order to remember I couldn't remember how to say reciprocity. I'd say recifusaha.
Yeah, well, there was a song about reciprocity in Chicago.
There was?
The musical, yeah.
Why don't I remember that?
Yeah, oh my gosh. It's been a long time since I've seen that too, but.
What is it?
It was that whole jailhouse thing that they did in Chicago.
Okay, I'm going to just have to watch that. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's great. Well, there's several versions of it, but the one with Renee Zellweger is what I'm thinking of. Queen Latifah is the jailer. I don't know.
Queen Latifah. Okay, that's pretty funny.
Yeah, and she's teaching all the prisoners about reciprocity. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. So that's probably not exactly what you're wanting to talk about, though. It can be if you want. But so tell us how.
I had an itch. I mean,
so kind of go into the law of reciprocity.
The law of reciprocity is it's the give and take. It's the flow, the ebb and flow. Life is the law of reciprocity. When you give authentically with no agenda and nothing attached, you don't even have to think about anything returning. It just does. And usually it's a really nice surprise. Seriously. But I think that the law of reciprocity is just something that happens by the sheer magnitude of the energy, the frequency of it.
Yeah, you raise your vibration. It feels good to do something for someone, and you raise your vibration. The natural state of abundance of the universe flows right back to you in that high vibe state. So that makes sense.
Absolutely.
I'm all about that.
Well, listen, check this out. You said something here in the Taya group. hold tight here. Let me get it.
The Taya alumni chat or Patreon?
The Taya alumni chat. And so I thought that this was really cool. The Taya, where we share high vibe stuff. It's about Taya is about experiencing our vibrational flow in appreciation of all of it, not just the source driven desired stuff. And I thought that was super important. Moving through life as humans, experiencing the matrix without being a slave to it is my favorite topic. It is a good one. This means detuning, but certainly not eliminating ego. I kind of skipped a little bit. So there's a new, and I didn't even read this part. There's a new Taya. What is the TTP?
The Taya Practice Podcast.
Taya Practice Podcast. Well, it said TTP. Taya Practice.
The Taya Practice. TTP.
The
Taya Practice. That's the official name of it. Is the Taya. We call it Taya, but it's the official name is the Taya Practice. So that's the new podcast that launched today.
There's some snippets out there, you guys. It's over on.
Well, snippets are everywhere now. Snippets on TikTok, on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, on LinkedIn. Not a hot topic on LinkedIn. LinkedIn's not down with the stream, but TikTok is.
That just made me think of that song.
TikTok is absolutely down with the stream. I love me some TikTok.
Oh, I seriously, right? I tell you what. But you know what you were saying there is just so true, and this fits into the law of reciprocity because really, it's about vibrational flow. We are constantly receiving. How are we receiving it, though? How are we accepting it? How are we appreciating it? And it's just, but it's a constant flow. It's not like
how do you receive your unwanted? We need to find I need to find a new word for the unwanted stuff, the spin out stuff, the gunk. Because one of the things we want to do is not judge it, not say this, I shouldn't be experiencing this, or this is wrong, or this is evil, or this is, Satan coming after me, or all those things that we say.
Yeah,
we don't say, but some people say, and we have said in the past.
Some people do.
Well, yeah, there's a belief that nothing bad should ever happen to you. And that was the whole the whole crux of that chat today was that somebody chimed in, and I love that they did because it's a great topic, and said,
Right.
all I see in here is this high vibe appreciation stuff,
Yeah.
and maybe I want to post something that isn't that. Is that okay? And that's why I wrote what I wrote. I'm like, of course it is. I love that. I did a whole podcast today about a spin out. That was a great podcast. It'll be out in about 6 weeks because we're that far ahead right now in taping. But I like the grit, because the grit is where we actually expand, is the grit. So I'm down for that.
Well, actually, you make me think about how much I am learning to appreciate things that I, don't necessarily at the moment appreciate, but there's just this practice to it that what happens is suddenly, when you just know you can't change it doing what you were just doing, because what you were just doing has never given you the results you want. And so you have this practice that you go, and you get this moment where you can change your mind. But the trick has been this law of reciprocity, David. It's been giving of myself even when I'm not feeling it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know I feel that I'm supposed to. That doesn't necessarily mean I agree with it.
Well,
But
think about it, you're supposed to, though, because Source does not have an agenda for us beyond the expansive experience that we came here for.
that's true.
So
I
you
mean, that
can,
is the way. Okay, yeah. Putting it
yeah,
that,
you don't, I know a lot of
yeah.
people get into spiritual things and think that they have to go out and give. It feels good to do it to me, to help and do whatever that you can do to help your fellow humans, certainly. But I do think sometimes we get really invested in this whole, oh, I'm selfless and I'm just doing for others all the time, and
Hmm.
it's okay to do that, but what is the real vibe behind that? Are you really thinking that it's something that you're mandated to do?
Mm-hmm.
Because that means you are serving a God with an agenda, a judgmental entity. And then if you start going down the rabbit hole of Source or God being judgmental, then how are the unwanted things in our world allowed to happen by the source of all creation?
Right. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, okay, I love that. When I say supposed to, what it means in my being is it's what feels good in my soul. It isn't about what I've been taught or any of those things. It's about listening to my intuition, into my gut, into the thing that I have this knowingness that this is the thing that I need to do. And we all have
Yeah.
had that knowingness,
Well, I
that
think
thing
for
that
me,
shows up.
kindness feels good.
Well, you know what?
You
There's
know,
not any, David, I'm going to say something right now. And if anybody gets their panties in a wrinkle, just pull them back out. Listen, really, whale, not one of us, we are literally the most selfish creatures on this planet. We are. Even when we do stuff for other people with no agenda, we don't want anything back from them or whatever. It feels good in our spirit, like what you
yeah,
just said. And that in itself is for self as well. There literally is nothing that we do that's completely 100%, at least not in my world. Now, maybe y'all are, I wonder even about Mother Teresa. Like, she was pretty cool and she did a lot of things, but it was for that feeling. But there's nothing wrong with that feeling. That feeling
yeah.
is
I have a hunch
so
that
good.
Mother Teresa liked being her, or
I have a hunch she did
liked
too.
the recognition that she got from the things that she did. So that's
Well,
okay.
she paved a path for a lot of people too, but the thing is that in she just went with her gut. She went with what she felt in her gut, is what I'm guessing. What I'll
Yeah,
tell you is going with my gut is something that I have many times not went with my gut. And then why didn't I go with my gut? Jesus, criminy cruel. And then I go down the rabbit hole.
trusting
But
your
that's,
instincts. Yeah.
it's so how do we better trust the inner voice within us? What do you think, David?
I say the answer to that is understanding that you can't get it wrong.
God, I love you.
And those of you that are watching right now, and there
That's
are people
awesome.
watching live, type in the comments, say hello, let us know you're out there, ask
I am.
questions,
I'm so stoked right
disagree,
now. Mm, yeah,
tell us we're wrong.
just agree.
I'm so I have a TikTok that's doing really well right now, and of course, every time I've done a TikTok that sort of blows up and gets lots of
Yeah,
views, you also get lots of people who want to say nasty things in the comments.
yeah.
So entertained by them sometimes. I'm like, oh gosh, this was good. I like this. That was a really nasty thing, but it was funny. So feel free to disagree. I kind of like that sometimes. So yeah, you can't get it wrong. There's no mistakes. They're just experiences, and some experiences expand you into being a more sophisticated version of yourself. In fact, usually the unwanted stuff that you experience does just that, or has the potential to do that.
Hmm.
Where the positive things, they expand you too, but I think that that's more of a appreciation, enjoyment, the pleasures of being physical type of expansion, where soul searching, the dark night of the soul, the major spin out, the crisis that this could end me, and coming back from that, that's where the real good stuff is.
It is so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're not afraid of experiencing that, and you shouldn't be, because we all have the tools to move through an experience like that and be expanded in it and actually make something out of it. Look at all the sayings we have, making lemonade out of lemons and silver linings and all that stuff.
Hmm.
That's because we love that. We love that. We love to see people take challenging circumstances, if not dire circumstances, and create something wanted or positive from that.
I love that because that's how we learn. I mean, that's how we grow. All of that's expansion. Trusting
Yeah,
that.
and if you appreciate all that, then you're not afraid of making a bad decision, because there's really no such thing.
I love that. There is no bad decision. There is no, and I have to agree because I don't think that there it is the way it is because it is. If it was supposed to be different, it'd be different. Believe me. Well, here's another kick in the butt. I don't think that we make any of our choices anyway. I think it's all just who knows? Maybe we're AI and somebody is actually programming us and we're getting programmed to a higher and higher frequency.
And
Who the heck?
our ego leads us to believe that we're the ones making the decisions.
Well, yeah, but well, let me tell you something. Dr. Joseph Benner from 1916 wrote a book called The Impersonal Life. And in The Impersonal Life, which I thought you had read because you're so on point with everything that's in there, he says it was a book channeled. And back in the day when you're a Baptist minister, you can't say channeled. So he put it out anonymously. But in this book, he was basically saying that you all think it's you. You think you've made all the decisions. Never, not one. All of it is source. Even the stuff that we think is not. Even all of it is. And that is a radical concept. It's either a giant let me off the hook.
Well, to me, it's we are all expressions of source. Source is creating and experiencing
Yeah.
physical, and all creation is an expression of that.
Yeah.
And the purpose of physical, from the way I understand it in my belief system, is to have the contrasting positive negative earth experience, and that really starts with the things that we want, that we prefer, and we are expressions of source, and all of the things that we prefer are expressions of source. The beauty, the joy, the things that we really love about this environment are expressions of source. So it's a connection, because it's one and the same. And then the reason
Yep.
that the contrast works so well is that when we separate from that and we experience something that isn't that or less than that, then we discern a preference to get back to that. And in that discerned preference to get back to it, we create. So if we were living in utopia, we wouldn't be creating, we wouldn't be expanding, because we would have everything exactly the way that we wanted it, and we would want for nothing. That's why I don't believe for a second that we are moving towards some 5D utopian environment of new Earth where we're all going to get along and agree about everything all the time.
I think that's what happens when we croak.
Yeah,
Just saying. Just
yeah, that's
saying.
the eternal state of being, or the completed state is what we often call it. And yeah, because
I do say
It
I do
sounds
say
great. I get that it sounds lovely. It's like a little warm hug, that, oh, we're all gonna get along and we're gonna agree about everything. But for us to do that, we literally have to agree about everything. Because once you introduce the slightest bit of discord or disagreement, then that's going to build momentum. And then suddenly you've got people hating each other again.
seriously, we're here to do human. We're here to do this human thing. That's what we're
Yeah.
here. We're here for that. We're not, it's okay. So the whole five, okay, look here, Willis. Listen. From what I've seen thus far, and I've just finished, by the way, I just want to take a shout out. I got my degree. Like I'm finishing in 2 weeks. I'm done. Well, I might go on to do some more. So I've done some study and research in communication, in the nervous system, and how that we as human beings deal with this thing called life. And something, that's what we're here to do. That is the expansion. The stream has said it a million times. And I can't find anything that doesn't say that. How we respond to one another, how we appreciate one another, how that we appreciate everything that's happening and going on in our lives. And for those of us like me that had some things happen that I didn't feel like appreciating it, to be quite honest, I had to learn to do it differently. I
Well, you
didn't.
created that experience for yourself to teach yourself that if you chose to learn it.
Well, I didn't like that. You know what? It's like I hear women talk all the time. Oh, I keep attracting the same guy. No, you don't. No, you don't. you could, you just keep not learning how to love you and set your standards higher. I keep
Yeah.
hearing. I keep
Well,
hearing.
if they want to claim some ownership of that experience, which is very empowering, sure.
Well, there's just so many things like people saying that. Oh, but I've done it this way always. Oh, well, then maybe it might be time for a change. Sort of like the Joe Rogan joke about our freaking government and it being signed with a feather, or the Constitution. I mean, could you imagine? He's right. Thomas, Thomas, not Thomas Edison. Yeah, it was
Jefferson.
Thomas Jefferson. Well,
Edison was the light bulb
and
guy.
I have an A in American government. Don't ask about that. I know. So that, could you imagine him right now? Like, dude, that was a feather.
Yeah, I think right now they would say, you mean you haven't really, trashed that and started over,
What's up? But we can't change something till we decide to do something differently.
Yeah.
And the
Well,
only
now we
difference,
wouldn't be able to agree on changing anything. So
oh Lord,
it
help
kind
me,
of seemed
Jesus.
like, and I know that there's revisionist history and all that stuff. And, what we were taught was they all got together and they all agreed and they decided they were going to do this because of that. And who knows if that was real or not, but it sounded good.
No, it sounded good, but you
I'd
know
love to
what?
hear that. I would love to see all of the politicians getting together now and agreeing, but I'm not expecting that. I'm
trying to.
hearing you.
Yeah, that's because I'm over here sharing us out. So,
Oh, well, thank you for sharing us out. And
I
I have seen a hello from one person, and we've got multiple people watching
well, hi everybody who's
from
watching.
YouTube, from Spirituality Gone Wild on Facebook, from the Stream of David on Facebook, and the Taya Practice Group on Facebook. I am so excited. I know this is going to happen, and it just hasn't yet. I can't wait until we can broadcast this on Instagram and TikTok also.
I can't
Everywhere.
either.
Everywhere.
I'm
I haven't
excited.
done a TikTok live. My biggest following is on TikTok, and I have not done a TikTok live. We need to do that.
You have not done a TikTok live.
Mm-mm.
Oh, you've got to do it. Don't
We
you
have to
have
do it. Well,
enough?
I need to do it with you. You're my live partner.
Oh, okay. So I need. Hold on. I'm gonna tell you. Oh, I don't need to look. I need about 300 more followers. So go find me on TikTok. I forget what my name is.
You can't go. Could you go live with me?
Yeah, as soon as I get. I'm terrible. As soon as I get a few more followers, you guys go over to TikTok and here I have 664 right now, and I need 1,000, and then I
Need
can go
1,000
live
followers.
with David. Yeah, I can go live, and that would be really fun. What I would love to know is from the audience watching right now, what is going on in your life today? What is happening today that's stopping you from doing the thing that you want to do? Let's talk about that, because I know somebody's out there is
Yeah, we're here hanging out, having
feeling
a
that.
good time, no matter what. But if you've got questions, ask them because we'll go into it. So yeah, if we're promoting TikTok, follow. Are you Debbie? Where are you on TikTok? Spirituality Gone Wild or Debbie G?
I do believe I am Debbie. I don't know. I am at Debbie Gratitude.
So follow Debbie Gratitude, follow the Stream
Yeah.
of David, follow the Taya practice.
Because see, I do stuff like that. Just
That's interesting. I don't. Mine's all clips of me, you know, or TikToks. I make
I
specific TikToks again now. I haven't done that in quite some time.
y-
When I first started out on there, I made specific TikToks and then I turned into clips and then I took about a year off from social media altogether.
yeah,
Now I'm back and I'm putting specifically, you know, TikTok type clips up there.
I think that's
So
wonderful.
talking to TikTok, I like TikTok. It's like my
I do
morning
too.
news. I flip through it every morning with coffee and see what in the world's going on out there. And I love that if you spend a little time watching something, you're going to get 5 more of that.
Yep.
And if you don't like something, just flip on to something else. It's really
Yeah.
interesting. The whole world seems to be migrating over there from everything else now.
Yeah, I think that that's true. But what I know is social media is a really great outlet to help you in so
It can
many.
be. Well, it's contrasting like everything else. It can be the rabbit hole of conspiracy theories and negativity and politics and
Yeah,
all of this nasty stuff, or it can be a curated feed of things that are serving your expansion.
that's right. That's
Just
exactly right.
don't get so addicted that you're on it like 6 hours a day. You can if you want to, but yeah, there's more going on in life than flipping through TikTok for sure.
Well, I tell you, the reason that happens is because it's an escape, right? So anything you start using as an escape, anything that you're
Well,
using to
it
have
is a window. It's kind of a window to the world, also.
I think it is.
Can
I
be.
think it is too. I think I get lost in some of the definite interesting perspectives that are going on out there. But my favorites are how to make healthy food. I love people that put out recipes. I think that is the best. And then the other favorite I've got is just people who are funny, simply
Yeah.
funny for no other reason
Funny
than to
funny
just
is
be
always
funny.
good. Entertaining is good. Recipes are good. I started following. I really got into during the pandemic. I got into the Pasta Queen, and now I
Oh,
don't eat
really?
pasta anymore. But back then I did, and her recipes are really good. I just love her little shtick that she's got on there is really good, and she blew up to millions of followers, and she's got a cookbook now and all of that. So Pasta Queen's really cool. I like her videos a lot. So,
I
but
love
we don't
it.
have to talk about food. We can talk about reciprocity. But I do like that you teed up the topic, and I like what we were talking about earlier. That spiritual space does not just have to be the feel good stuff.
Well, because
And
that's just foo foo. That's not
yeah,
true.
yeah. So it can be anything. And certainly with the Taya practice, we're all about experiencing the ups and the downs and appreciation of all of it.
Yes.
And that's a big component of this is that the down stuff, because we do get dragged down just by polarity. We
Yeah.
certainly get dragged down by our triggers. We get dragged
Yeah.
down by things that we manifested that we're still judging
Yep.
until we don't anymore. So we're going to spend some time in lower vibration. And what are we doing down there?
Well,
How are we managing it?
I'm down there widening pretty good. I'll tell you. When I get down my spiral, if you guys want to know, I mean, I get into victim. Going down the spiral for me is not being willing to accept responsibility and accountability for my own decisions.
So you've got victim vibe that comes back around when you're in lower vibration.
Oh God, yeah. And then of course I'm going to accuse somebody else of being in victim vibe because I'm going to project that. Think
Well,
about
yeah.
it. But you are, you know what? It cracks me up. It's like if I see it, I am it. And
Well, we are different beings depending on where we are on the spiral. We
yeah,
behave differently. We are different beings down the spiral than we are when we're up.
but
That's
what
why when
I'm
we get into an
catching,
argument, then we feel bad the next day. Oh, I didn't mean it. Well, you did mean it. You meant it when you were down there, and that was the vibe you were in, and you were probably interacting with someone else at that same level, and you had a nasty interaction. And now that your
yeah,
vibe is not as low, you feel guilty because you're judging your low vibrational period because the matrix teaches us to judge that. Oh, you're not, even the spiritual matrix, high
yeah,
vibes only. We're high vibing over here, high vibes only. That was the whole again, that was the whole thing about the chat today the whole thing the chat was about today is no, it's not a high vibe only chat. People do tend to go in and put exciting or uplifting things in there. I get that. We're all about that. But if somebody is spun out or struggling or suffering or challenged in their practice or just having a shitty day,
Yeah.
put it in there. Talk about it. And we don't all have to rescue them from that experience either.
Oh, that's a
That's a
kick
big
in the
one.
butt.
That's a big one. Oh, I've got to rescue you from your experience. Gosh, I can't allow you to have a spin out or have a problem in your life. I've got to judge that as wrong or bad and try to rescue you from it. That's just your ego.
I'm really
You're going
glad
to
that you
rescue
understand
somebody from
that.
their experience. Yeah.
Oh, I was actually thinking about that earlier, if y'all want to know the truth. And I can't really give any details to this, but I will just tell you that I can tell you this. When somebody has a really bad addiction to something, we'll review as a bad thing, right? And all I can think of is it's time to be done with that, right? And then all of a sudden I thought, who the hell am I to think
Yeah.
that
Only the addict
they
knows when it's time to be done with
that
being
was
an
it.
addict,
I was
right? Yeah.
like, I sat
However
there,
that happens, and again, no judgment about that either.
but that's what I sat with today. And I sat there and I went, my love and care and everything is just as strong with it as it would be without it. Doesn't really matter. That has no bearing on my ability to show up for that person. And they're not hurting me. I mean, let's be honest. Okay. They're not hurting me. So I think that it's that, but that whole thing now, see what was in my ear was, and this is just so big, David. This is so big. Who are you to mess with their experience? Who are you?
Yeah.
And I'm like over there going, shit. It's, all right. Well,
Oh, I want to stir up another controversial topic.
oh, good. Please. What?
I'm feisty tonight.
Oh, good.
So you said something, and I hear this a lot in spiritual circles.
Mm-hmm.
My guides. I've heard that a couple of times recently. People talking about my guides, and guidance does not come from source. This is my belief system, my understanding of what source is. Okay. Source is not guiding us to a specific experience. And you said earlier that you don't think we're even making the decisions, that source is creating the experience. I view source as a creative force, but a creative force that is creating based on the physical expression experience. Because energetically, there's no reason to create anything if it's just energy.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason to create in non-physical. The creation all occurs in physical, and that creation in physical creates the expansion of consciousness, and the expansion of consciousness creates physical. They work hand in hand, the chicken and the egg, right? So,
but which came first?
Isn't judging, and source does not have a particular place that
Right.
source is guiding you to. So, who are your guides? Now, I honor all belief systems.
I think I know.
Everybody creates their reality, and whatever their belief is true for them, and that's great, and there's nothing wrong with it. You want to tell me what you know first, and I'll tell you what I think, and we'll see if there's any.
I think it's all a stream of consciousness. I think that for our own benefit that we have separate we belief systems, like this is this person, or maybe it is, maybe it isn't.
I think you're right. I think it is.
Okay,
I don't think that
I got a
I'm going
whopper.
to die and be David eternally
I
and
don't
come
think so.
back as another version of David reincarnated.
I don't think so.
I don't
And
think
I got another one for you too, because this one really makes me wonder about psychics and mediums. And I'm not discounting a psychic and a medium, and I'm not going to discount any of that stuff. But I will say this, that the other day I thought something, and Joe 15 minutes later did the thing I thought of. And I said, it's funny. I just thought of that. We are so intertwined and like woven together, all of us.
Mm-hmm.
that when we are tapped in, it's called telepathy. We can actually communicate with one another. So it's safe to consider that we can also pick up on the memory field and the memory shields that are all around us regarding the person who passed away, including, and here's the deal. When I was in the car one time with Joe, I said something, chip off the old block. And when I said chip off the old block, he said, that's what everyone called my grandfather, that we have a painting and it says chip off the old block. Now, does that mean that his grandfather just tapped into me? Or does that mean that he might've been thinking about what his grandfather being to chip off the old block? And I picked it up. It's really interesting when we start thinking about this, because what are you really hearing from? What is that voice? What is the voice you're hearing? Is it your intuition? Is it you? Are you your own guru source coming through you? I don't know. I haven't croaked yet, so I really don't know any of the answers to these. It's just an interesting
we are
thought.
definitely we are constructing a belief that is not completely proven, but everything is that, really.
Everything is that.
How many things get proven and then they're disproven later? Oh, we thought this was real, and then now we realize that it wasn't, but at the time it was factual, and nothing really is. Everything is an illusion of consciousness. I always say the bullshit makes the world go round.
Dude,
Because everything is an illusion of consciousness.
Everything is, listen. I was in astronomy. Okay. Now listen, it's beautiful. Stars and yada, yada. Every single solitary thing about astronomy is a freaking hypothesis.
Yeah.
Everything is a hypothesis.
Factual until it isn't anymore.
Period.
So
seriously.
they find out more.
Yeah. Science. Yeah. It is a hypothesis. A hypothesis is an educated guess. We're not saying it's not educated. We're not saying it's plausible,
and who decides that something is proven? Who is this decider that something is proven?
Well, I don't know.
It's just popular opinion.
I think
I was talking about this a couple of weeks ago because I was watching a TikTok. We were just talking about that, about the Supreme Court. We're here in the United States. I know you're not all in the United States, so I apologize that we're focusing on our government here. But I know that you're all aware of it. And the fact that we have the Supreme Court, that we were all indoctrinated into a belief system that the Supreme Court was the Supreme Court, the supreme ruling body of our land. And now the legitimacy is coming under question. We're questioning the matrix. It's starting to reveal its flaws to us. And we are questioning it and causing the fracturing of it. And the flaws are coming to the surface of all of our institutions of control, certainly. So somebody said, and they actually laid out exactly how this is, and I never thought about it in terms of that. They said, the Supreme Court is illegitimate and they're not holding each other accountable at this time. But really, the Supreme Court has no power. They only have the power that is given to them by the government. And it blew my mind. I was like, holy shit, I never thought about it that way, that the Supreme Court ruling doesn't mean a damn thing unless somebody's willing to back it up.
No, because it's a unitarian government.
Yeah, but I just never occurred to me, to me, the Supreme Court rules and that's it. It's done. But we know now that it's not done, at least not forever. So things get undone.
Things get undone.
So, I just take that as one of those things that you think is black and white. And, here it is. Here's the facts. This is what they've ruled and that's it. Well, not even that is real. It's all an illusion of consciousness that they have this power. Everything has the power that you choose to give to it.
Period.
And the same thing goes for what's going on in your world right now. That's how I can look at TikTok and not get drawn into the negative narrative of all the fear that's being peddled everywhere.
Yeah.
And it always is. It's amped up now because we have so many tools of communication to do that sort of activity, but it's always been there. That fear and that judgment and the same problems existed 50, 100 years ago in different forms with the same stuff. Same arguments, same disagreement, same discord. That's just the nature of our environment. And you can focus on the wrongness of it and have that lower vibrational experience with all that. Or you can just say everything is a creation of consciousness and nothing is real and everything has the power that you choose to give to it. And you can shift your focus and completely change your reality just by shifting your focus.
This is true. I've done it. Just, it's funny because, I'm getting a little warm. Shifting your focus. I've had people accuse me of, you want me to change? No. It's the idea of being pliable and shifting perspectives and shifting your focus. Shifting your focus in my day's going like that. Go focus on I have kittens to focus on right now. So I'm like I'm good. I am seriously like, it's great. But shifting your focus and doing something for someone else is going to create a ebb and flow and the law of reciprocity. Go do that. Go do that. But you don't understand. Oh, I do. I do. Go do that thing for somebody else. Shifting your focus is so smart. David, I love that.
Yeah. Well, anytime you feel your vibration being lowered and you don't want that experience, it's up to you if you do. Understand that your vibration is not being lowered by an external source. Your vibration is being lowered by your opinion, your belief system, how you're choosing to react to what you're experiencing. And and going down your spiral, going down into lower vibrational territory is always optional.
How's that for you, everyone? It's
But
optional.
there's nothing wrong with having, I do want to say there's nothing wrong with having that experience though.
You just said it's
Because
optional.
It's optional, but that doesn't mean that you're not supposed to do it. I want to make sure I've made that point. It's optional, but I'm not sitting here as the guru saying, "Oh, we'll never go down our spiral again." That's not true.
Oh, it's not true.
Yeah, of course we will.
We'd be, you know what? If we weren't going down our spiral, we'd be bored in the house, bored. And in fact, if your nervous system has been wired your whole life to have some sort of chaos around, you'll find yourself creating chaos because that's what you're used to. And that this is what the cool part about Taya is, though, is that you can start shifting that and changing how your body responds to life. It's kind of cool. And I like that, Elaine. The greatest power is choice. That's so awesome.
Yeah, that's a cool statement.
Nice
because
to see you, by the way.
because you've got it. You've got choice. You've always got choice. You've always got the power to discern a preference in one way or another. And what we were talking about earlier, I know a lot more people have come on now. We were talking earlier about the fact that really you've got the power of choice.
Yeah.
And since we live in an abundant universe and your natural state is abundance, there's no wrong choice. There's just a different experience. So you choose the experience that is more painful or troubling or quote unquote damaging. Well, all of that is a matter of opinion, first of all. And secondly, very often when you make that choice, you end up creating great expansion for yourself. So there's no wrong choice.
Let's talk about regret, because you hear people go, I shouldn't have done this and that, and I regret blah 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 blah. And I don't even understand the point personally.
Yeah, I always say, but you did.
But
you did experience that. So what comes of that? You know that you cannot go back and change it physically. You can't go back and relive it and do it differently. You had the experience. What did the experience do for you? And I can tell you, I have had lots of expansive stuff in my life, and all of it came from those decisions. That job that I took, that business that I started, the diet that didn't work, the relationship that was not founded on sound footing, let's say. I have done that. Moved around a lot. I've changed jobs a lot. I've started businesses. I've been divorced a couple of times. I live it. I do it. I love the roller coaster of all the stuff. I'll jump right into an experience, and maybe it works and maybe it doesn't, but I don't regret, because I know, and I've known this for quite some time, that I created that experience and that I expanded in the having of that experience. And I know now I can talk to somebody and say, I know what it's like to be divorced twice. I know what it's like to have your home burned down. I know what it's like to gain and lose 100 pounds. I know what it's like to be disowned by your parent. I know what it's like to be mentally and physically abused as a child. I know all that stuff. I know all that stuff, and I don't spend time regretting it, and I certainly don't spend time judging it as something that shouldn't have been. That was my journey that I created. And all those little twists and turns brought me right here to where I am. That's all that negative stuff. And think about how much the Matrix teaches us to self-victimize and plant ourselves in the low vibrational judgment of our stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Woe is me, poor thing. I have to escape because I can't. I'm haunted by the past. It was so terrible. It was so awful. We see that a lot.
Yeah.
People create that, and what I'm in that voice that I'm doing, I'm mimicking what the Matrix teaches us to do. That was wrong. That was awful. It shouldn't have been. You should have never experienced that. It's the worst thing ever.
Yep.
And
Well, that's it.
no, you can have that experience if you want, but not for me. Not for me. Like, what are you talking about? I wouldn't trade all that stuff for the world. What would I have if I didn't have all that? Oh, I was born into just a lovely life, and everything's been wonderful. And I've lived in one place. I've had one job. I've had one relationship. I come and go and do the same thing day after day after day, and it's just been perfect.
It sounds like a robot.
Yeah.
No, thank you. You know, diamonds are made by pressure, period.
Yeah.
And we have
I like
different
that.
diamonds have facets, right? Different look at different facets of a diamond. How much clarity would you like your diamond to be have? How much clarity? I mean, the pressure, if you allow the pressure to do its job and then shine that puppy when it's done, you know, stop and how we shine it is by not complaining about whatever it is. But I mean, that's what we are. We're these diamonds that were created from all of these experiences, and truly, can we just take a moment and appreciate the the purity of what that means? I mean, that's our essence of us, and I just think that's really what it's about. But some people don't have the tools to do that, and it sounds all gushy gushy and la 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 la. But the fact that I he and I have both been through all that stuff and all kinds of stuff.
Think about it though. Most people that are doing this type of work, this whatever you want to call it, spiritual work, law of attraction work,
Mhm.
metaphysical work, there's
Yeah,
lots of different labels for it. Most of us have been through the stuff that guided us here.
yeah,
We needed to find something outside the matrix to make sense of all of that, because the matrix was just telling us that we were victims, or that we were wrong, or we were unworthy, or all of that stuff, and we didn't buy into that. We decided to find some other way to make sense of it, and then we get really deep into something and realize, wow, all of that stuff served my expansion. It served the purpose of me being a more sophisticated version of myself.
yep,
I wasn't a victim. It wasn't awful. It wasn't terrible. I don't need anybody's pity. It was, or there, it's a collection of things that I chose to move through as a physically manifested being that enlightened me.
yeah,
I get it. I understand what those things are like now. I move through the experience. Some of that stuff I suffered in the moment, but now I've moved far enough along to where when it happens, I don't suffer in it anymore. This is what we're doing now. This is what we're experiencing. This is where we are. This is it. This is what I've created for myself.
well, you know, it doesn't sting as bad when you change how you look at it. You
Yeah.
know,
When you own it at the onset.
oh yeah, I
And
said
that's the
yes.
trick, is to get so deep into this thought process that you can start owning your stuff as it reveals itself to you.
Biggest biggest key to freedom that anyone will ever have is accountability. True, deep, authentic accountability, not the kind where I'm such an asshole. I did all this. Oh my God, I'm so bad. I'm so bad. And I'm this, not that.
I'm
More
not a good
like,
spiritual person because I'm not perfect.
you want to know what my accountability looks like this? Yeah, I did that. Yep, I did that.
Yeah.
Why? If somebody says why, hell, it probably sounded okay at the time.
Yeah. Well, our favorite stories are people who move through unwanted experiences and triumph through those experiences. We all love that
Absolutely.
stuff.
We
We
love
all
it.
do, and that's because that's why we're here. We're here to move through the challenging experience and expand in the moving through the experience and the solving of it. And the
Yeah.
cool thing is that this is such a cool thing, and I love this component of Taya, is that we know that when we raise our vibration and appreciation, we are merging with source is in us, and we're merging with that source perspective of appreciation of all that is. We're getting out of our ego and into source.
Mm-hmm.
And we need the ego for the experience, but then we sort of re-emerge and reconnect to source through appreciation. And when we do that, the solving of the issue is just an automatic thing. So you don't have to hide. When you raise your vibration after going through something that's difficult, I think a lot of times we learn to ignore it. We don't want to think about
Yeah.
that again because it was painful and now we feel better. So let's just look ahead. But gosh, when you're back up in that higher vibration of source, that's the time to turn and look back at the suffering thing that you just experienced and say, gosh, how did I create that? And what did that ultimately do for me? And if you're really appreciating it, that clarity will just be. It just happens.
I agree. I think what do you think about this? The fact that we're co-creating the realities. We're
Yeah, well,
co-creating.
we
Yeah.
perceive ourselves as this ego, this persona, and we are an expression of source, but our ego serves to separate us from that source energy so
Yeah.
that we can have the imperfect experience. If we're just source all the time, then we're not experiencing anything that's going to cause us to expand. Being in physical is a natural process of separation from source
Yeah.
in a vibrational flow, not all the same, and some people really separate from source. They're angry, they're bitter all the time. There's lots of
Yeah.
examples of that out there. If you want to flip around and find it, you will. Social media is a good spot to discover that. So is the evening news, if you will. And
Oh,
they stay in that lower vibrational state, and then it reveals itself in their lives.
yeah.
Usually until they suffer so much that they just don't want to do it anymore, and they exit from that experience one way or another.
Exactly. Pretty much. I look. I think that we're here to enjoy this experience. Period. I don't know about you, but I haven't spent as much time having fun and enjoying things.
I think we can all do more of that. Yeah.
I really do. I really do. As a matter of fact, uh, today I'm thinking, so if today were my last day, was it cool? Did I have a good time?
Yeah.
Did
How do I
I
spend my time? We are time limited in physical. We know that.
did I leave heartprints on the planet? Was there somebody that I was able to touch? Was there what is it about today? Because I'm not promised tomorrow. And the simplicity is have fun with it, laugh, find things to laugh about too, because just something it's like this whole taking everything so seriously.
Well, the seriousness is very often, not always, but very often just rooted in fear. That we've got to solve this problem. We've got to solve it. We've got to fix this for humanity, and we've got to fix other people's lives, and we've got to solve it. Not a whole lot gets solved in that. Notice that the high vibe of appreciation is the solving energy. Oh, look, there's a problem. Let's celebrate it.
Oh, look, there's
Let's
an issue.
appreciate it. Let's understand it. If you're not celebrating and having fun in it, at least seek to understand it instead of just demonizing it.
Well, I know that Joe and I were talking today about some stuff that was going on, and it was just kind of like, gonna be what's gonna be. Like, we've got a lot going on here, Airbnb. Now we've got Hip Camp going and all that, and you just got to let it roll and have fun with it. We have a property where I could go hang in the jacuzzi or the sauna and pretend like I'm on vacation. What the heck? Think about where you're at. And you know what? If anybody's been watching me for a minute, that wasn't true a few years ago, right? Okay. Now I'm here where I'm at, and I still find shit to bitch about. Okay, let's just be real. Seriously.
Oh yeah,
I need to
we always will. I mean, we're not static beings. You go down your spiral. We've talked about this before. There are people sitting at 5-star resorts with everything they can imagine that they want being given to them and
That's just
still
it.
complaining. That happens. That
it's.
absolutely happens. And I have been that person before.
Did you see my cute Ram truck?
Yeah, I love your Ram truck.
I love my Ram truck too. It's just gorgeous and it's freaking awesome. I have came so far, but it was through practices like these, you guys. It wasn't because I overnight woke up one day and said, "Oh, spark that G vibe and everything's all better." It didn't happen like that. It was like this. Just it was one decision, one choice at a time, and one belief systems being shifted at a time. So if you're sitting there thinking, "Oh, that's just a crock of poo poo," that's just is it, or is it possible that the thing we resist persists? Who says that? Somebody says that.
I'm not sure. I've heard it.
The
And
thing
I
you
think
resist.
it was in The Secret. I remember seeing that or hearing it. It was in The Secret movie.
Okay, but when you resist it, like because it's
like a Joseph Campbell type quote, but I'm not sure.
well, whoever said that, I give you credit.
Well, we talk about the activating the vibration of need. When you're desperate, when you believe you need something, the universe is going to answer that with yes, you need it. You need it, and you'll keep needing it until you don't need it anymore. And why do you think you need it? That's the thing. We are indoctrinated into a matrix that tells us that we need stuff because it wants to sell us stuff, and it's presented to us as this is happiness. Buy this house, this car, those clothes, go on this vacation, get this, hair color. And we all consume those things. There's nothing wrong with it, myself included, but that's going to somehow equal happiness. And it can deliver happiness for a period, but it doesn't deliver authentic joy. To me, nothing delivers authentic joy like understanding the nature of the universe, yourself, and re-emerging into that source space that's available to all of us. That's joy. And that's where you are naturally when you're appreciating nature, where you're appreciating other people. That high vibe of appreciation is source. But we have to understand, we don't have to, but in the practice, we understand that source is appreciation of all that is, though.
Yep. All that
we're
is.
not really taught that. We're taught that it's judgmental. We're taught that it has a plan for us that's specific. We're taught that it's cruel sometimes. We are taught all these things, but really we are the ones creating all of that stuff by separating from it. And that's what the ego's job is. But ultimately that exists to expand us. But it doesn't have to be experienced the same way that most of us have always experienced it. That judgment of the low vibration and the wanting to save other people from their lower vibrational experiences. That's just a belief system. And belief systems are important. We should wrap up talking about that. Belief systems are mandatory in the physical world because your belief system is your operating system, and we all have one.
Yep.
And even if you decide that your belief system is wrong or bad or not working, and you think you're going to release it and you don't replace it with something else, you're going to construct something else for yourself. Atheists do it all the time. I'm an atheist. I don't believe in anything. I don't have a belief system. This religion is all hooey. Let's talk about politics. Oh, that's your God. Okay, now I get it. Cool.
That's funny.
Or consumerism. Or how everyone should be a vegan. Or, there's endless things that we include in our belief systems. And whatever you want to include in your belief system is good for you. It's good for you because there's no right and there's no wrong. There's no getting it wrong. But for some reason, we have this belief in dogma that our belief system is the correct one and everyone else is wrong, and that we need to judge them for not being in it, or we need to indoctrinate them into our belief system.
All of which that is what's wrong with veganism, in my opinion, is that if that's the only thing that you can say is good and everything else is not good, then there might be something not right there. Or my old Christianity belief system was that's the only way you can believe. I mean, or you're
I do not personally prefer the vibration of that dogma piece of things. You've got to believe. I don't think everybody needs to be into Taya. I can tell you that. I don't think Taya is for everybody. at all, at
Well,
all. And I think Christianity serves a lot of people, and it's not for me.
well,
But I do think it has components to it that people give it power, they believe in it, and it serves their human journey. As does atheism, as does veganism. You know, the person throwing the blood. And we went to a
yeah.
rodeo a couple of weeks ago, and there were protesters, PETA protesters at the rodeo.
Oh,
And I was friendly to them, and they were friendly to me, but they had their little signs. We walked right by them, went to the rodeo anyway. And I thought, those animals have a job. They're not being
that's right.
tortured. They have a purpose. They are bred for this purpose. I don't have a judgment around that. I don't have a judgment for the animals that are bred that I
Right.
consume. They are here. My preference would be that they have a nice experience, a free experience, a good experience. But what is a good experience to a cow or a pig? I would think, not being abused, not being necessarily cooped up. That would be great. I can discern a
Right.
preference toward that. But at the end of the
Well,
day, if they were bred to be food, I'm okay with them being bred to be food, but I'm also okay with someone who chooses not to consume them. But it's that whole you shouldn't either.
darn it.
Yeah, and I see that in spiritual circles. I see that in religious circles. I certainly see it in politics.
We're
That
seeing
really
a
has
lot of
us
that.
bound up in a lot of low vibe energy. That whole concept of this shouldn't be, and you shouldn't be experiencing it or believing it. One of
Well,
the biggest fights I ever got in with a group of friends was when uh, I said something about politics. That I have friends on both sides of. Oh my God, how can you? Oh, that's terrible. I'll never forget that.
that's great.
Yeah,
Well, listen, I say find some swings somewhere and jump on a swing. I have some swings out here in my yard, so it's kind of cool. But enjoy your life, and the bandwagon. Stay off the bandwagons. That's all I gotta say.
well, just notice your belief system, and
My
notice how
belief
your
is,
belief system is creating your reality, and
yeah,
accept, if you choose to do so, that you can tailor your belief system. And Taya is all about stripping away the human rules, having those 4 pillars and nothing more, and rooting it in universal law.
yeah,
And then from there, you can do anything you want. We have Taya vegans, we have Taya meat eaters, we have Taya Catholics, believe it or not. You can have any belief system you want. Understand that it's your creation, and it's completely, you're a sovereign being, able to have any belief system that you want, and that you create it. And is your belief system, I'm going to leave you on this question with this question, is your belief system an intentional creation, or is your belief system a reaction to everything that you've experienced so far? Or somewhere in between. Think about that. I love belief systems. I'll be talking about that. We are off next week, so no CYP next Thursday. I am on vacation. I'm going to Texas, and I'll be gone for at least next week. So no Claim Your Power next week, but we'll be back the week after that. Be sure to check out all of our stuff. Our newest podcast is the Taya Practice. The Stream of David podcast is still weekly as always. And check us all out on TikTok, including Debbie Gratitude.
yes, please follow me, and then David and I can go live, and we can chat with you. I think it could be serious fun. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us today. And if you're watching the replay, thank you for watching the replay. Put some questions in the chat so that we can address them, because it's kind of fun, even though really the simplicity of Taya is allowing and acceptance, which I really, if we can grasp that, we're good.
Indeed. Thank you all, and thank you,
Bye,
Debbie.
everybody.
Bye.